So I am so excited to make this video because Wave just released a brand new feature that will make this software that much more accessible to owners of small businesses like rental real estate, construction, and provide a lot more financial insight into areas of your business. And that new feature is tags. The reason why I am so excited that Wave is releasing this new feature is because that many of you might have noticed in the past couple months and years, QuickBooks, which is the reigning gold standard of bookkeeping, has slowly been increasing their prices. And I'm getting to the point where I feel really bad recommending to a client a $150 subscription to a software that has so many bells and whistles that they don't even need or use, that I don't even need or use to do their books right. But one of the things that QuickBooks can do that Wave hasn't been able to do is provide things like class tracking and projects, which is basically a fancy way of creating reports around subsets of income and expenses without having to change the financial reports or chart of accounts. And by introducing tags, Wave at $19 a month is providing so much extra value while keeping its platform still user-friendly and simple to understand and learn. So in this video, I'm going to show you what the tag system is, why it's useful, how to use it, and I'll sum up the video with a list of pros and cons that I see with the current tag system as it's just been released. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Andrew Bloom. I'm owner of Profit Logic, a small bookkeeping business that helps small service businesses across the United States with their bookkeeping and accounting and setting up software like QuickBooks and Wave. I'm also a PhD student in business with a concentration in accounting. So it's safe to say that I absolutely geek out on everything bookkeeping and accounting. And if you want to get more tips, tricks, and insight on how to use bookkeeping software like Wave, QuickBooks, or just learn how to be a better bookkeeper for your own business, then be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. All right, let's dive in, and I'm going to show you the new tag system in Wave. So if we go into a Wave Pro account, keep in mind this is only available for folks who pay for the Pro plan, which at this time I think is $19 a month or something like $16 a month if you pay annually. So when you're in the Wave platform, you'll see on the left side under accounting, there's this new page called tags. And when we click on tags, you're going to see a list of all the tags you want to use in your business. So what exactly are tags? Tags are a way to label your income, your expenses, any of your transactions with some kind of variable. So it could be anything you want to use. And this is particularly useful for businesses that are contractors, real estate investors, businesses with multiple locations. On your chart of accounts, for instance, you don't want to just break everything up into maybe you have project A income, project B expenses. You want to keep that financial report separate from this somewhat subset of a report to be able to ask yourself the question, how much do I actually make on my projects? How much do I actually make at each location? So tags are a way to find out some financial data around any topic you want. And as long as you're very good about consistently tracking that data by adding a tag to the transaction, then you can pull up these new reports that don't affect anything else in your chart of accounts and your financial reports. So I think this is particularly useful for any business that has projects or real estate business that has multiple locations, because this is kind of similar to QuickBooks' way of doing classes or projects without having to pay that extra money to get the level of subscription that offers those features. Because prior to this, I don't think Wave was exactly the right fit for more complex service businesses. But with the introduction of tags, I think it's safe to say you can basically track your projects in Wave using a tag system. So let's get into how to use tags. As you can see, you'd go to the tags page and you'll create a new tag for whatever it is you want to track. So let's say, for instance, you have a project you want to track all the income and expenses for under this one project. For an example, I'll show you project A. You can include it in description if you like. You could save that and add the new tag. And under this page, you'll see a list of all your tags here. You could search for your tags as well. So that creates the tag. To use a tag, when you're in your transactions list doing your bookkeeping, you can go into the line item, whether it's an income or expense, and you click on Edit More Details. And here you can add tags by searching for the tag. And here, for example, we could add in Project A to this expense. So now you can see there's an icon over here that shows that this item has a tag. Another way to add a tag is to select the item or select multiple items. And you can come up here to this option bar and click Bulk Tag Transactions and decide what tag you want to add to these transactions. And you hit Apply. Always uncheck the bulk select box. Same thing with income. Let's say this line item was part of the project. You just include it, Project A tag. Now, the one area where things get a little weird is that, let's say you do your invoicing through Wave. In Wave, you cannot add a tag to an invoice item just out of the transactions feed. Instead, you have to go over to the sales and payments page, click on invoices, and when you create an invoice, you can also edit an invoice with this. You can scroll down and add a tag to the invoice. So with that new invoice, we get added Project A tag. Once the invoice is added, you can also, under invoices, you could click on the invoice, edit it, and scroll down and add the tag here, or remove the tag. So once you add tags to your items, you'll then go to accounting, and you want to build a report out of it. You go to the tags page and click View Report. So you'll want to pick the date range that's involved in the report. We're going to just say for the year, and then you'll select the tags. And you're allowed to add more than one tag. So if you're looking for something that's part of a project, and maybe there's another tag like subcontractors, you just want to see all the subcontractors that were paid under this one project, you can include that tag as well. And it'll show the items that have both those tags. So now you see the total net profit with a list of all the income and all the expenses, whether it's cost of goods sold or operating expense, with a net profit. If you want to add multiple tags, they'd be listed here. And then up top, you can see there's an export button if you want to export it as a PDF. And here you can see what the PDF would look like for the tag. So this would be a really cool way to track your project's income and expenses, or for whatever variable you want to track. So now I just want to go over a quick list of the pros and cons I see with the tag system as it currently presents itself in Wave. So for pros, the best part is that you get to create reports that don't affect your other financial reports, like your profit and loss statement, your chart of accounts. You can create reports without having to create extra accounts in your chart of accounts based on any kind of variable you can think of. If you wanted to track maybe your sales reps and which invoices go to which sales rep who made the sale. So you could do it with subcontractors. You could do it with projects. You could do it with marketing campaigns. There's basically so much room for creativity in order to get data straight from your bookkeeping about a financial aspect of your business. It's also easy to use. I like being able to add tags right out of the transactions list. Another positive I see is that this finally allows project-based businesses to use Wave, which again I think is a far more user-friendly resource than something like QuickBooks. Now, for the cons, I'd say the biggest con so far is that you can't tag invoices right out of the transactions list. So you have to remember to go back and add the tags. And then a con with tags in general. So this is comparing to software like for a project. Basically, it's on you to remember what your tag system is, which tags you plan on using. If you have other people doing your bookkeeping or accounting, you have to be very diligent to make sure every transaction that needs a tag is accounted for. Otherwise, there's no way for the system to tell you that you missed a transaction that doesn't have a tag on it. So there's no reminder, and there's no like AI suggested feature involved, at least not yet. So all in all, I'm really excited about this new feature. I can't wait. I definitely prefer using Wave nowadays with most of my clients instead of QuickBooks, and this new feature will finally allow me to work with more construction businesses, real estate companies, and provide an extra layer of bookkeeping care that hasn't been available to Wave until now. So if you got something useful out of this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. This lets me know what kind of content you like. And if you have any ideas for future videos, especially around using Wave or bookkeeping in Wave, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to help make tutorials so that your bookkeeping experience can run smoothly and be as stress-free as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.